Hi, everyone. We are at GDG DevFest Ukraine 2017 edition, and this year we're trying something new that we haven't done before. We're doing speaker interviews with some people, and I managed to have Yuliya Kaleda, from a senior Android developer at jet.com, here next to me. And Yuliya, how did you hear about DevFest?
Hi, everybody, first of all. And I would love to probably at the beginning say thank you so much for an invite to come and join GDG DevFest. This is my first experience with DevFest in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And so far it has been amazing. But answering your question, how did I hear about GDG DevFest?
Yeah.
So I was just Googling DevFest. I think I was Googling like a specific DevFest. I didn't remember the country. And then GDG DevFest Lviv came up as one of my top searches on Chrome. And I'm like, oh, there is like a DevFest in Ukraine. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
And yeah, I just like looked it up, what you've done before, and how big is the conference, like what speakers you had, what content you usually provide, and I was pretty impressed. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, then I probably should go there.
Okay.
And yeah, I applied, submitted my talk, and was really happy to be accepted and super excited to be here.
Okay. Like you mentioned, you submitted your talk. I know what you were talking about, like instant apps, because I looked through the schedule, but can you give a quick overview of instant apps, like for those who have no idea what that is?
Sure, absolutely. So Instant App is a new type of the application that has been announced by Google in 2016.
Yeah, at Google I/O.
And yeah, at Google I/O. And then basically, the first Instant Apps got launched this year and got announced at Google I/O 2017.
Yeah.
And so we were actually yeah, we participated in early access partners with Google. So yeah, but answering the question, Instant App is a new type of the application that basically absorbs the benefits of both worlds. It takes the best features from mobile web, such as no need to install the application and like space-friendly character, and the best features from the native application. So it's still a truly native application with its material design and navigation. So it's a new type of the application that basically stole the best things from both worlds and yeah, evolves as an independent technology.
Okay. And you got this early access program at jet.com to instant apps. Not that many companies get like early access program. How does it look like from the inside to work closely with Google on something very early and fresh?
Sure. It's amazing. It's amazing from different perspectives. So if we talk about working direct, well, first of all, we got access to all the experimental tooling, all early APIs, right? So I feel like this is the greatest pleasure for the for any developer to basically get this new tooling and like start figuring out how it works and work on something that has not been built before. So this is kind of like this, you know, innovative spirit of development process, like running into issues, trying to fix it, learn more about Android system. So from that perspective, well, it was a huge learning experience. And at the same time, we're working with like greatest Google developers, right?
Yeah.
And the support is amazing. So every time we run into an issue and we basically stumbled upon a problem that we were not able to solve on our own, because we still depend on the experimental SDK we didn't build, right? So there was like a back and forth conversation with Google, and Google is super quick with responding, and basically because it's in both interests, you know, it's in both parties' interest to solve all the problems, all the issues, and release the technology as soon as possible. So yeah, it's super. Yeah, Google is super responsive and super supportive. And another probably interesting and important thing is that. If there is a suggestion, right, and you as a developer are concerned about certain things, you basically express your concern, and Google is very receptive in terms of like bringing some stuff and changes that the community would love to see. So this is another probably a really great check of like being an early access partner.
And like. So you have instant apps in production for some time.
Yes, correct.
Did you see any changes in business numbers?
Absolutely.
Like, should people implement them?
Sure, Sure, yeah. I mean, just starting today, please, guys, go and build instant apps because the business gains are impressive. So our conversion rate increased by 27% if we're comparing mobile web with instant apps. And you know, when we built instant apps at first, we were, well, this number is super unrealistic. 27% is impossible. So we actually were able to verify the number. We enabled some extra analytics SDK to actually confirm that this is 27% in order not to lie, you know, to the outside world. And yeah, we were able to confirm that this is the actual number, which which brought up a lot of revenue in the company because we're an e-commerce company. So in terms of instant apps, our cart size increased also by 7%. So users are really excited about the new experience. So they spend more time and more money in our application, which we're super happy about.
Okay, but from developer's perspective, was it complicated to get the support for instant apps inside? It's like they are still very early stage.
They are in a very early stage, that's true. So actually, Instant App relies on Android Studio 3.0.
Yeah,
and
true.
Today, there is a release candidate that came out, which is nice. So we released Instant App still in beta version to prod, right? And we didn't really run into major issues. There were like some small tweaks, and again, in my talk, I shared how to fix them.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be scared to release it right now because it looks very stable. Yeah.
Okay. Then, if those who want to try it, they can try it. Actually, I tried installing Android Studio 3 myself. I tried running Instant App.
Sure.
Haven't got any experience so far in production with them, but still. I've heard big news about Jet.com being acquired by Walmart. And let's go to the business side of things. Most of the developers here work in IT consultancy and IT outsourcing industries. And we don't get the real-time feeling of working in a product company that often, especially in a big one. So how does this acquisition impact the companies? You're a person who experienced this. So tell me your experience. Tell me your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined Jet in January 2016, and we were a startup at that point. We actually were live just for a little bit over half a year. Okay. And my main reason why I joined Jet.com is I wanted to stay. I wanted to work at a startup, right? So I didn't want to really go into corporate companies because I feel like the problem, not everywhere, but with corporate companies, is there is a lengthy process of basically adopting early technologies and playing, and there is a long process of approval stuff. So that was my main concern, and I feel like I'm trying to stay at the edge of innovation, right? So I love to experiment with bleeding edge technology. So that was the main reason why I joined Jet.com. And then just half year after I've been working there, we got acquired. It was actually in August 2016, so a little bit less than around 7 months. And I'm like, man, so I'm not in a startup anymore. But I was totally wrong. So a good thing that happened after acquisition is that we don't depend on funding currently, right? So it's basically we're part of Walmart, and we're still one company. We still have the same gain, right, and goal basically to make e-commerce better and innovative. That's amazing. But I would say that Walmart gave us a lot of freedom in terms of keeping our own brand and still leading and paying attention to bleeding edge technology. So I wouldn't say that acquisition impacted us in any negative way. It brought up a lot of benefits to the company. Because we cannot really worry. I mean, we don't need to worry anymore about fundraising and what will happen to us in 2 years. Will we get shut down or not? Will our users love us or not? So, but yeah, at the same time, we're still even our office. It's just you walk in and you feel the energy of people working
experimenting.
in a startup. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Which traits of when you're looking for people joining your team, which traits do you look for in an engineer?
Sure. I think for me it's important, and probably for most developers it's important to stay on top of what's going on currently in technology, right?
Okay.
So you cannot learn something 5 years ago and rely on that knowledge
Things
currently,
change.
right?
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, I feel like the community currently, and I'm actually really surprised that, you're not surprised, but pleasantly, happy to learn that Dev community here stay on top of everything, right? So they're aware of instant apps, some of them already played with this.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most important features, is just stay on top of what Google is coming up with, stay on top of generally what's happening in the mobile world. Then I think another important thing is, don't be afraid to experiment with all of that stuff, because we all fail sometimes, but just experimenting, you can learn tons of new things that you wouldn't probably learn if you would be working with the stable releases. Like I always use canary releases of Android Studio, although I know most developers like, oh, no.
What's your experience so far?
Experience, nice. Sometimes you're working and then Android Studio just throws an error and you're like, damn, something wrong with my application. You're trying to fix your application and then like it doesn't work and you realize, oh, you're on Canary. This is not my problem. This is Google's problem. You just follow a bug. But this is amazing because you contribute into the community, right?
Yeah.
And this is the way how actually all the technology gets released from us, from Canary channels to the stable, right? If we all just would be using stable stuff, then we would have probably to wait for like half a year or a year.
More bugs in stable.
The next release of Android Studio. So that's, Probably another thing that we value in JED is the passion towards the products, right?
Okay.
Because if you think about it, if you don't feel excited about the product, you won't make it better, right? Only if you truly love it, only if you truly live by how it should look and what you would improve there, right? You can actually bring value to the company. So I feel like the passion towards what you build and staying on top of everything is what we probably usually try to look at when we're interviewing candidates.
Okay. Let's wrap this up on such a passionate story. The tagline of the conference is make the most of development, make the most of you. So what would be your, I don't know, 2 main ideas for developers? How should they evolve? Like what should they look for in order to evolve?
Sure. I would probably say that definitely don't be afraid to jump on something that is not stable, something that you are scared to experiment because you're afraid to waste your time, because this is how you learn most. When you run into issues with something that doesn't work, you fix it. Because this is how a lot of even libraries, like a lot of new technologies, a lot of open source coming up, right? You're that pioneer who's experimenting something. You probably will get stuck for a week and it will be frustrating, but eventually after you solve it and after you will bring it back to the community, you will get such a great satisfaction. So I think this is one of my first tips would be. And then another important thing is don't be afraid to speak up. If you've built something awesome, come to the conferences. Don't just watch it online. Don't just watch it live stream. You should come here. You should be here, because it's the vibe that is just in this space is something that cannot be experienced through a TV screen or like monitor screen. You know, it's just a different experience. It's like a lot of networking, a lot of opportunities to actually ask questions that you probably cannot ask right now. So please join us next year live, physically here at GDG DevFest Ukraine.
Thanks everyone and have a nice day.
Thank you, bye-bye guys.
Bye-bye.